Hi, folks. My name is Fox. This is Freya, and we are the minds behind SlasherFic Gothic, which is what we're here to talk about today for Anomalous Transmissions SlasherFic Gothic release party. I have a
Okay.
box of books right here that is shockingly here on time for this. Um,
Damn.
I know, it's supposed to be tomorrow. I'm very excited. So we're going to talk a little bit about how we got this project going. Um, I'll unbox the books. We'll talk about our stories a little bit, and then the next thing that we're doing with our organization.
All right, sounds good. I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. I'm stoked. I get to cut something open with a big knife.
Oh, that's always a fun time. I love cutting stuff up with a big knife.
Um,
So, I don't
cool.
know. You want to start on yours first, or should I delve into mine?
Let's get the background of this whole thing first.
Oh, just random.
Not your background, the
What? Oh,
background. The
the background.
background of the project that we
Oh,
just
okay. Background of the
did,
project.
that we
Okay, so I'm
discussed
very stoned ahead of
beforehand,
time.
and
I'm sorry. You're right. The way you said that, I'm a little stoned, and that I didn't mean to get this stoned. I only had like one thing, and it's from a friend. It's been strong, and I haven't smoked in a few days.
yeah, that'll do it.
I
Okay,
don't know if you're gonna like
so
edit this out or just keep it because it speaks well to my personality
it does. Okay,
as an author.
so the origin of SlasherFic Gothic is the kind of coming out of our first book, which was the science fiction one. Freya wanted to write horror because that's mostly what she does. And so I was like, okay, we'll do a horror one. And then we'll go back to sci-fi because that's mostly what I do. uh, and we thought up a clever name, which I'm still really proud of.
I think you've
Um,
mostly got that. I
I
can't
did.
take any credit.
I definitely did. Um, and so the idea was to do kind of a similar style of project, though, have a collection of short stories from trans and gender diverse authors who are kind of emerging onto the scene, provide them a place where they can showcase their work and get published and get some editing advice. Um, so that's how that came about, and it's taken way longer than expected to get finished for reasons.
Yeah, maybe partly to blame on that too. Definitely.
mostly mostly me because I was working and tired. Um, Ended up getting burnt out mixing drinks. So yeah, is there anything else you want to cover on that?
No, I think that kind of covers it pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know what this is going to look like.
All right.
See, open this box of books. What can you see? Oh yeah, you can see that.
Oh yeah, definitely see that. I approve of big knives being used.
There's a screenshot there.
Yeah.
I wish I were doing this with my good cell phone camera, but I am not. Maybe I'll take a selfie while I do this so that I can post this. Um,
Yeah, I'm just like hoping I have good lighting. Might
I
be a
have
little.
great lighting because I set it up beforehand.
That's true.
I have one of my big studio lights.
Nice.
Ah! Ah! Okay, it's really tough to hold the phone and also
Oh yeah. You know, I should. There was originally around. I should set up my pod again. If I've already got that.
here we go.
I keep wanting to fall over in your face.
I'm sure there could have been a better version of that one. Oh well. Okay, I have a paper. I got a box of books.
Oh, right.
I like that they're not very big,
Mm.
but they turned out perfectly.
I kind of like that because I know with like kind of like smaller horror anthologies, there's way it kind of come like that. That makes
Yeah,
sense. Kind of
yeah.
length is nice, quick read. That's
It's only 107 pages, and yeah, they look really good. I'm really happy with them. All the formatting is correct. Yeah, I'm really happy. The quality of these is not terrible. Trim is good. Like the trim's a little off center, but doing the black outline with the black and
yeah.
red image just like makes it
Oh
impossible to
shit, it
really
does
fuck
look
it up.
good. Damn,
Yeah.
my art looks half decent.
Yeah. It's not gonna look great on this webcam because it's a crappy webcam and I didn't get my big camera set up in time, but that's fine. So I have books. If
It's small
you
publishers. We don't have. We're not doing documentary quality pictures.
Well, I mean, I can get documentary quality pictures. I'm just lazy right now.
There.
If you want your
Yeah,
own
it looks
copy,
fantastic.
you want your own copy of SlasherFic Gothic, you can find a copy at Amazon.com. Links in the description, as usual. And so I did most of the editing on this. It's got some really interesting stories in it. Two of our authors weren't able to join us today, and I will get interviews from them as soon as I can. And to just go over their stories really quickly, I had To Wish Upon a Bomb by Cassandra
Mhm.
Kohler, which is about an alien species of invading from like below in part of desolate New Mexico that kind of like wakes up this military industrial complex to go to war with these already dehumanized creatures. And it follows the story of a soldier who miraculously survives an encounter with these insectoid creatures and has to question her reality and who she is and what she is made of. It's really good. It's very like gothic in a creepy existential sense, like dealing with
Yeah,
things that are beyond human.
yeah, not like a very traditional Gothic setting, but definitely the tone and atmosphere. And I think a lot of themes it explores.
Mm-hmm. And of course, Jen Joran, the protagonist, is a trans femme character. It's handled really like subtly. It doesn't really like form
Yeah, definitely not.
like any of the central problems for the character at all. But just kind of like adds an extra layer to their experience. And kind of like their experience as a human dealing with human society and being outside of it. So that was good. And the other one is by Clinton Michael Munns, and it's called Hopes and Dreams, and it's the it's the nice one. This one's very much about mood and like the idea of existing as a person in an online space and having that be where you feel like yourself, where your identity lies, and then having that be have the feeling of having that taken away from you permanently and no longer getting to exist as this person who's just a little bit who has an existence beyond the mundane through the internet, and now that becomes inaccessible to them, and kind of like the sense of creeping dread as that life is slowly taken away. It's also not bloody and doesn't have sex in it, unlike the rest of the stories that we have for you, which is a good segue into yours.
Yeah, so I was gonna say, so mine's called Neon Acid Gothic. It's a spin-off of my novel Neon Acid Switchblade. I have to give a little bit background on that just to get the main, kind of idea of it. So, Neon Acid Switchblade was a novel written from the perspective of three men that kill a trans woman, and she comes back as like a kind of multidimensional horror. So this one is follows a different character. It's from the perspective of a trans girl who had a sexually traumatizing experience and is in the process of considering detransitioning. And she falls under this curse from the character called Eliza Stafford, and who's like multidimensional horror. I don't know. I know I'm kind of chumbling that up a bit. I'm explaining that, but I really wanted to explore, experiences with trans women, like our sexual experiences, the dynamics, also transphobia. It's very heavily in there. I don't want to give too much details on the actual story itself, but it was I tend to go very like extreme in my content, like
Hmm.
yeah, FoxxC can
I'm
attest to that.
aware.
Yeah, um so with that, like one of the things is like I have a few reasons for that. Firstly, I feel like people have this idea. I think there's this idea spread by a lot of bigots that trans people are like we're soft and sensitive, and that we're like we're kind of wimpy and whatnot. So I kind of want to like really dissipate that idea. So I do tend to like make my stuff very over the top. I also figure like we're goddamn adults. We should be able to enjoy adult stories that explore shit. Explore this stuff for real. And I mean, I write in a very visceral sense. Like I really kind of delve into like when people are like tortured and killed and ripped apart. I delve into like the way they're feeling, like into like really excessive gory detail. And I
Hmm.
try to make it kind of like poetic and have a nice flow to it, but it's still demented shit. But I think I think a lot of stuff a lot of stories we get really desensitized to violence because it's treated so like it's not that serious. Like, you see like superhero movies where, people might get thrown off buildings or blown up and all that, but it's like, done with like a happy score and like, you got the good guys. And it just seems, it doesn't seem like that bad. And I think is violence and we have to be, face that reality. And
I
yes,
definitely
sir.
think horror is a genre that does that. Kind of like
Absolutely.
it's what it exists for is to do that. I
Yeah, and I think it kind of helps even with the kind of like the emotion of it. Like I really go to like some emotional extremes. I explore a lot of abuse and everything. So
mm-hmm.
yeah. And
Mm,
I think just it makes kind of a visceral point, and it goes off like like you said, with horror. Like if you watch a lot of like '80s horror films, even like some of the stuff like Edgar Allan Poe and stuff. Even his stuff, there was a lot of even though it's like kind of tame by today's standards in the sense of the physical violence, it was more the psychological violence. There's a lot of there's a lot of psychological build up to things and what's going on. I think that's important to explore.
mm-hmm.
So kind of playing within those traditions and and just kind of I want to make mine more extreme and stand out in that sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you definitely succeeded in making that extreme. I think it's interesting to look at, like, I think both of our stories talk a little bit about revenge. Um,
Absolutely.
and I think I think all three, actually Cassandra's as well. I think one of the main themes in there is about revenge, and like yours is a little bit more. I think that like the neon acid idea is kind of about like the corrosiveness of revenge, generally speaking. It
I
seems to
mean,
be what it's getting
in
at.
some ways, I mean, it's yeah, in some ways. I mean, it is also like some self-indulgent, revenge fantasy,
Yeah, I mean, well,
but
like, yeah,
I guess
yeah,
just
yeah.
in human nature and violence in general, just the kind of gross nature of that in general, because like I do explore even the characters that you perceive as like the bad guys. I still kind of delve into their own traumas, their stuff, like so. There's a very yeah, like it does. I do go very over the top. Like I really wanted to explore the idea of like the trans woman monster. Like obviously that's seen a lot in media, like in horror media. There's oh fuck, what's his name? Buffalo Bill,
Mm,
even Norman Bates. They had kind of some obviously cross dressing themes and everything, and fuck, was it Texas Chainsaw Massacre? One of them, they had, they did that. Like, those kind of archetypes do show up the trans woman monster. And I always found it boring. They always just made them like some sort of gender freak. So I thought it'd be kind of cool to do my own interpretation of trans woman monster that really is just kind of horrific. She's kind of, I made her fun and like all the stuff that her, she does some like really messed up stuff that even though it's revenge, you're still kind of like Jesus, like it's a little over the top. That's an understatement, obviously, but
Yeah, well, I mean, like, and I think sometimes, um, you finding a line, like, especially mine, and mine is about finding a line between, like, not being a stereotype, and also like,
mm.
and having those stereotypes put on you by society,
Oh,
and
absolutely.
then like the potential impact of taking revenge, right? Like
Mm.
how that can corrupt you,
Yeah.
even if you're right, right? Like even if
Mm.
they treated you like garbage, and even if like, the revenge can be like, I don't even want to say justified, but like that it can be considered, like that's the perspective, and
Yeah.
how, that specifically leads my character into making a fatal mistake. Um,
Mm.
I end on kind of a cliffhanger. Deliberately, I want to take my character Everly and um, do a longer series with her,
I,
and really explore things like, the internalized transphobia and
mm.
internalized um like like the cost of the actions that, it's in her case it's not purely revenge, but it's also
Yeah.
like, the her condition, um
Mm.
and she's a vampire who no longer wants to be a vampire and is trying to beg the witch. It's called, sorry, I guess I'll introduce it. It's called Blood Magic. Um, and it's about a vampire named Everly who is seeking out the New Age witch who turned her into a vampire for turfy reasons, to get her to
I
undo the
love that, by the
spell.
way.
It's so good.
I love the new age.
The
It's
whole
such a
thing is
wonderful.
so good. I'm really happy with it. Um, and it's a story where I really wanted to look at like um the how transphobia is projected um directly onto a person by someone with influence. Um
Mm.
and I think I did a good job. Um
Mm.
and then the person trying to find a resolution without seeking revenge, but also
Yeah.
having this like deep internalized desire to just violently take revenge. And like
Yeah.
it becomes an unavoidable conflict, right? But then once that conflict starts, how it unfolds and ultimately ends, and the way that affects Everly afterwards,
Mm.
is a really important part of that story. And how her actions of, one of my favorite storytelling devices, the Pyrrhic victory, uh, where you win a tactical battle but you lose the strategic one.
Yeah.
Um, Perfect for horror, and that's kind of how this ends. Um,
Mm.
so I and it ends that way because um, ultimately she does a big ol' violence and eats the switch, um, and then and ends up with an elder god inside her, um, and it starts, beginning this corrupting influence, right?
Oh,
And so
such sound that.
the trilogy that I want to do is dealing with that,
Yeah.
how to get it out, how to, defeat this evil, etc. But like, yeah.
So
Um,
when you say the elder god, like she's possessed by one, or she's like carrying an elder god, like as a child or something, or
no, more the
no.
first,
Oh, okay.
but like not
That's kind of
entirely
where I put
possessed
mine in context.
by.
I know you've made hinted at themes like that before. Like
Yeah,
that's fun.
yeah. That's Blood Magic. It is named Blood Slash Magic because I wanted to do a slash fic.
Oh
It
my god,
worked.
I like that.
It took you this long to realize?
Oh my god, yeah, that makes okay. Yeah, I'm a little slow sometimes. Laugh away, bitch.
I will. That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do we have anything else we want to mention? I don't want to be just talking about this like this all day, but um
Yeah.
I do that's all the stories in SlasherFic Gothic. If you want it, it's available on Amazon. I'm hopefully going to be able to get it in more places soon. Um
Yeah, I think that's kind of covers what we were planning to cover.
yeah, and I guess then I'll introduce what we're doing next with Anomalous Transmissions, which
Hmm.
is we're drum roll. We're doing another volume two
Rumble and
of
grow.
Rumble and Grow. Yeah, so volume two of Rumble and Grow. If you are a trans or gender diverse writer, trans or non-binary person, you are an author and you like writing science fiction, um, check out our website, and I'll be putting up a submission page this week, and I'll be putting out our submission information on socials as well. It'll be as always. So SlasherFic is sorry. Rumble and Grow all has a theme, um, and is about where SlasherFic Gothic is kind of like our let's look at the dark side and do horror. This is more like
Mhm.
positivist science fiction from queer people. So it's going to have a theme. It's reciprocity. Um, and then you're going to pick from one of the punk genres off my punk genre alignment chart and build a story in that world. It is deliberately a little bit of a sandbox project so that it kind of like inspires you to create something new.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the way to go. I like the kind of openness of it. So I'm very excited for that. I know I think you've already finished your story, haven't you?
No, that's
No?
not going in it. No.
No? Oh, okay.
And that's a first draft, so I don't
Yeah.
even.
Oh, I thought for some reason I thought maybe you had another one that you had done, a story that you had written.
No,
No. Oh, okay,
the
good. So I'm not.
story that you read, which
Yeah.
is Bus Factor, is
Yeah.
not really a positive story.
Yeah.
It's definitely not. I've had another story in mind for volume two of Rumble and Grow, since I was writing Steel Bones for volume one.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna write it. It's about bees, and I'm really excited. But I have a story about a witch to write first, which is my current project, and that'll be
All
out by the
right.
end of the month. Yeah, it's good. It's a historical drama about like an actual witch from my family.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm doing the
That's awesome.
yeah. I've been doing research all week, and I started writing pages today. It got like 75
Oh, I'm
seconds.
excited for that one. Yeah.
It's so good. It's
Yeah.
gonna be so good. It's a really interesting story, and I actually get to like talk about queerness in early modern Europe.
Oh, very awesome.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
and how, that was framed within a witch trial.
Very cool.
In fiction,
Uh,
it is heavily fictionalized. I can only get so many details from
Well,
like
yeah.
16, the middle of the 17th century
I mean,
Scotland. So
you do what you got to do. I mean, a lot of there's a lot of great books that are heavily fictionalized. Like one of the biggest books on Miyamoto Musashi is like heavily fictionalized depiction of his life. Well, just the book Musashi by was it Yoshioka? I can't remember the full
yeah,
name, but
yeah, that happens.
yeah. But I
Yeah.
mean, I think as long as you kind of catch the essence of it, and you're gonna, obviously putting a light on, something that people wouldn't otherwise be exposed to.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to do it as a TV series one day. And like actually get more into the background of the characters and the events that happen. But this is going to be a proper short story that is essentially just the trial, and it's going to be good. Anyways, That's gonna be done by Halloween too, actually. It should be done by Halloween, so you might get a 2 for 1.
Oh,
My fans out there. Get
damn.
a vampire and a witch
I
story for
get
Halloween this year.
projects out.
I'm pretty good at this.
Yeah. No, that's good.
Okay. I think that's gonna be it from us. We've been talking for like half an hour or something.
Oh,
So
nice.
cool.
Got my
Well,
drink out of that.
that's SlasherFic Gothic. I'm Fox, and this is Freya.
Yeah.
And buy our book. It's really good. This
Yeah.
is, well, you're watching Fox Sales right now, but this is Anomalous Transmissions, our publishing company. I'll put all the website stuff down below, and I'll catch you next time. Oh yeah, if we're on my channel, I have a video coming out this week too.
Perfect. All right. See you
Bye,
later. Thanks
y'all.
for talking. Bye.